Hey everyone.
Hey guys.
Welcome to another episode of Eigenbros. Actually,
fancy.
do you know the German pronunciation to that?
I guess it'd be Eigenbros, but I guess it'd be Eigenbruders.
Ah, okay. There you go.
That'd be really German, because
Yeah.
brother is Bruder in German.
Yeah. So another episode of Characteristic Bros here.
Mm-hmm.
Actually this week is a very heavy topic, I think. Yeah.
This could get us canceled.
But it had to be done. And yeah, you know what? I think it was very interesting. Certainly not your sort of more scientific kind of thing that we're used to doing, but
Yeah. Science adjacent.
a little bit more of a discussion between Terrence and I about some of the more cultural things going on, and hopefully we reach the point where maybe you learn something. And then at the end of it, honestly, waiting to the very end is probably totally worth it in my opinion, because that's where the fun really is.
Yeah. Make sure, definitely, guys, we want to hear your feedback on this
Yeah.
one for sure. So make sure you leave a comment.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, share it, like it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Check out our Twitter at Eigenbros. Check out the website, eigenbros.com.
Mm-hmm.
If you like audios, we're on Spotify, Google Play, Apple, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else, Juan?
Follow us on TikTok.
Yeah, follow us on TikTok. We got to put some more
we're
videos
trying
on
to
there.
make some content that's relatable to all the Zoomers and stuff.
So
so
Juan
they
will
can
have his hat
share.
backwards on TikTok.
Hey kids, what's up? Do we still do this?
Yeah.
Rock on, guys. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, just find us on social media platforms that you habitate and retweet it or repost it, like it, that kind of stuff.
See you guys in a bit.
Yeah, easily more. Okay. Yeah, everything's good.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. We're doing it live.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Hey everyone,
Do
we're
it
live in another week's episode of the Eigenbros.
Indeed.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff in the Twitter world, according to you.
Yeah.
There's some drama
Yeah, a little
in
bit
the
of
Twitter sphere.
Yeah, a little bit of Twitter drama in the math science sphere here.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
For the uninitiated, there's a very prominent figure that recently kind of outed a historical figure, a very famous guy named Richard Feynman.
Some would say he's not such a fine man.
Some would say he's not such a fine man. And
Oh, you've got an image there.
the legendary Richard Feynman, legendary misogynist. Yeah, I actually were you a little bit startled by the so for the record, I guess maybe we should backtrack a little bit or
Yeah.
backpedal. So who is Richard Feynman? So for those who don't know, Richard Feynman is an American physicist. He was born, I think, in the early 1900s. Sounds kind of insane to say that, but it's not that long ago.
Yeah, I guess so.
And he was a very young
Well, he's around the
prodigy.
same age as Susskind, isn't he?
Yeah, I think probably a little bit older.
So maybe not 1900s, like what, 19...
No, dude, because he was he was like 20 when
when
he was
Susskind
working on the
Manhattan Project?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was a PhD student. So
Okay.
he's at least 10, maybe 15 years older than
Okay.
Susskind.
Okay.
So anyway, Feynman, he was a prominent American physicist. There are very few of these guys.
Yeah,
There are very few American physicists
right. That are prominent, at least. Yeah.
But he's one of the rare guys that make it through, and he's got a reputation in the community for being a great explainer, the great explainer of physics.
Yes. So he's the guy that simplifies concepts that are very difficult in a very understandable way.
Which is a very American sensibility, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Like, don't give me all this jargon.
Right.
Give it to me straight, Doc.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Just give me the facts.
Yeah. And he definitely didn't like the flowery kind of aspect of science. He kind of shied away from the elitism too.
Right.
Which
right.
I think was really appreciated by a lot of people, and I think it pulled a lot of people into physics. Certainly did for me. He was one of my heroes.
Same for me.
And but there was some. So anyway, he won the Nobel Prize. He went on to be known as a great lecturer.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some autobiographies written for him. And he recently
he wrote his own. Well, I guess that's the definition of autobiography, right? Where you write your own.
He technically didn't write it. There was somebody else wrote it for him.
By the way, Juan. You can just hold on to that.
So there was a famous. There's a very prominent Twitter figure.
Yeah.
Who we correspond with.
Yeah. Pretty
often. Well, not correspond with, but we definitely follow him pretty closely.
Yes, and he known as inertial observer.
Mm-hmm.
On Twitter and
so Dylan Berger of I think he's maybe UC Irvine. I can't remember.
Right, and there was an article written on thebaffler.com. It says, "Surely you're a creep, Mr. Feynman," written by Layla McNeil. And the article written recounts, and I've seen this multiple times. Like I've seen these accusations against him before this article has ever come up. So I was already familiar with his history, and it's not necessarily a secret.
No,
because in his autobiography, so to say, like his own, you see his own, like, how do you say, like his own
voice,
behavior. You could even say it was problematic then. The way he treated women, he would call women whores and stuff, and
or like bitches or something.
yeah. But he was I'm not trying to rationalize it, but he was also very I would just say a very nerdy guy who didn't know how to talk to women to begin with.
Right. Didn't he even have in his book somehow that he was in a bar or something and some guy, he asked him how do you talk to women or something? And the guy showed him how.
And the guy basically said, women want you to treat them like
is that what he said?
Whores and stuff.
Women want to be treated like whores is what he said?
If I remember what the books, the guy was talking to Feynman.
Oh, okay.
So I don't really know all the details.
I remember reading the books, and what I took away from it was that he didn't know how to talk to women, and he took the advice of assholes at bars.
Right.
I mean, that's what I took away from it, and I feel like he kind of just carried that on, but I think, I mean, his sister is also in physics, and and she, I think, came to his defense.
Yeah.
And said, no, I mean, my late brother is a sweet guy, blah, blah, blah. And he certainly didn't shy away from his, I guess, his sexuality in a way.
Right.
But
he has quotes and everything talking about sex and whatnot, comparing it to math and physics.
What
I think he has one where it's or was one, he says mathematics, or no, physics is to sex as mathematics is to masturbation.
Something like that. Yeah. Oh, I remember that quote. Yeah. But I mean, he doesn't. A lot of these guys, especially him, since he's American, I feel like he came up in that sort of boomer kind of. What is he technically a boomer? Or is he like a?
I think he is, man.
I think he's technically.
Because he's older than Donald Trump, isn't he?
Yeah,
or he would be.
I think he's from that hippie generation, technically.
Yeah.
He's from that new, what is that called? The new love or free love generation.
Oh, I don't know.
I think he's technically from that. Maybe.
Is there a separate one? I thought there was Boomer and Gen X before us.
Yeah, Gen X is above is a generation after Boomers.
Yeah. But he's not a Gen X.
No, he's not a Gen X. And he's also, I don't think he's a Boomer either.
Then what else is there?
I don't know. I think he's I don't know. He fits into the category of sort of, he was in that era of the hippie kind of free love, sexuality kind of stuff. And honestly, at some point, the culture changes, the culture shifts, and you see, I think nowadays, well, especially with like making the workplace a lot more, how would you say, like less kind of awkward if you're into somebody, like
more inclusive, less sexualized. Like,
there was a lot, if you believe like what you see in Mad Men, like shows like Mad Men, or
I haven't seen it, but I have a feeling what it is.
Yeah, like a lot of rampant sex and cheating and stuff that happened in the whatever 60s or 50s.
Yeah.
With whatever on the Office.
I'm sure it was.
I'm sure it was
easier to cheat back then.
I'm sure. I'm sure it happened all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people used to sleep with each other in the office. They had a work wife or work husband, and that's
kind of a popularized term nowadays, though.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it was much more rampant back then.
Yeah, it was more of a secret work wife or husband.
Yeah, and people. That's where the culture was, and maybe that doesn't excuse any of that behavior, but that's where the culture was, I think. But anyway, a lot of this comes out nowadays, and people are shocked. But I think we're shocked because we're so we've evolved like culturally in a lot of ways beyond that point of reference.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
What do you think of this whole thing? So the reason I even brought this up was kind of where you referenced it. It's because Inertial Observer on Twitter said he quoted on his tweet. He said deleted Feynman tweet because he was a sexist. So he actually deleted a tweet that he had by Feynman because he said he was a sexist. And he later clarified to me, because I actually defended Feynman. I said, what did I say? Well, I can't find it now. But
Feynman was a cool guy, and he didn't afraid of anything.
Yeah. Or what was the one, the meme in Fortune, Hitler did nothing wrong?
Yeah. Stupid kids.
But I said something along the lines that if you're going to delete Feynman's tweet, you need to delete. You probably have a lot more tweets to delete, because every human is flawed. Some are just better documented than others.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like this is an interesting place we're at now. Like, I definitely understand where Inertial Observer is coming from. And I also understand where I'm coming from, and they almost seem like two poles, which I think they are. But I think this is a very hard issue for me to try to tackle. I think, because you do need to have people held responsible for their actions, right?
Yeah.
But then you also need to have context for the time, and then also you cannot just write someone off completely because of their wrongdoings, I don't think. At least that's my opinion. What's your take on that? So just to paraphrase once again, his tweet was deleted.
Yeah.
Or an Inertial Observer deleted his tweet that was a Feynman quote because he says Feynman was a sexist. Yeah. Now, do you think that is right? What's your take on that? That's kind of in the realm of the whole. To me, I would say that's in the realm of cancel culture. I think this is a very, very minimized version, though. So I don't want to go that far and saying it's like to the level that I've seen for some things. But I think it's in this realm of this new area we're in life where everyone is so exposed. It seems like now everyone is being canceled. Where we're going to have no one left. What do you think, Juan? What's your take on that, man? It's a very big issue nowadays.
I mean, it is. I think as long as, and I think you need to take into consideration how people feel now, and I'm sure this is I think people need to apologize to the people that have been directly affected if they have. Like, if he went ahead. The guy's dead. He's not here to defend himself. I'm sure if he was, he would probably say, yeah, I apologize for my behavior. And I'm sure he recognizes now, at least, that it's, how would you say, it made people uncomfortable. It made some of his students uncomfortable or whatever for him being so forward and his sexual advances and stuff for some of his like for some of the people that are the allegations that were written from him that I remember reading about.
Yeah, I think he had sex with some graduate students or something. I don't really remember for sure though, so I'm not going to say that 100%.
Allegedly, let's just say allegedly.
Yeah, I know that he like drew or modeled, or some of his grad students would model for him.
Yeah,
I don't remember if I think it led further though, because he used to do the same thing in like strip clubs and whatnot. I think there was sex involved. I just don't know for sure though, so please don't quote me on that for sure.
Yeah, I mean there were certain. Yeah, I mean this is nothing new under the sun. I mean it's just I think every generation comes and finds. You know, you move the line of ethics and stuff and morality a little bit further than the previous generation, and you look back and say, wow, what monsters, you know, like we're much better than them. And it's okay. Like, but I mean, like to me, it's none of this is surprising, because I'm sure 30 years from now, people are going to be scoffing, people are going to be canceling us or whatever, or coming at us.
Oh, I've been canceled.
Well, people are just going to be arguing with us and saying, you shouldn't have taken that stance. And sure, my views might evolve. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the same person I even was 5 years ago.
Shit, that's an understatement. Like, I'm not even the same person I was like 5 weeks ago.
I don't even believe some things that I believed, like 2 years ago. Like I literally changed my ideas. You know, there's a quote by, I don't know who, Mark Twain or something, or not Mark Twain. Maybe it's, forget his name. Anyway, this guy, he said, my thoughts, I think he said, my thoughts change with the facts. What do you do? You know, something like that. But it's like, you know, as the facts come in, as, you know, we reassess certain ideas, you know, I'll adjust accordingly, you know. Right.
Basically saying that he's ever evolving in his understandings and belief systems.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then this is kind of, I think you're on the same page then here. Like, do you like, so then it seems like to me, I would say that cancel culture seems like above and beyond not the right way to go. I mean, it seems like writing someone off completely is just, it doesn't seem very, it just seems something about that bothers me, where you're basically saying that someone is now, their work, their life's work, their body of knowledge, everything they've done is worthless because of an imperfection or something wrong that they've done in the past. Do you think that's a fair thing?
I mean, it's hard to say, because, you know, you can't, you know, I hate taking the conversation this way, but
this is a tough one to talk about, right?
It's a tough conversation, but it's like, you know, if you want, you can keep that same energy with like Nazi technology,
right?
Like IBM funded, you know, shout out to my future employer, IBM. IBM, you know, there were so many, sorry, IBM, you're not the only one under this, but, you know, there's a lot of companies that funded the Nazis, and nobody wants to say anything about it. There's
I had
a lot of things.
IBM did that.
Yeah, man. There's so many companies that just kind of like turned a blind eye to funding the Nazis in a way that most people don't even recognize. And it's like, okay, like, you know, you can keep the same energy for that, but you also understand the nuance of it. It's like, okay, this organization probably changed hands multiple times, and it's restructured, and the philosophy has changed entirely. Like, it's not the same.
The company's, I guess, a little bit different.
Yeah, but it's like,
but I guess similar.
If you're a human being, you'd be like, yeah, I mean, unless you fundamentally believe that people cannot change, then that's a, you know, then that's a point of like contention for someone that says, yeah, I think people can change.
Right.
And you know, and then that's a point of like, okay, well, I don't think people can change. Then, all right, well then, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. It seems very much to me like people just want to write someone off permanently once they have found out that they've done something wrong.
Well, I mean, there are certain people, like we kind of do that with certain people in our lives. I mean, like in a way, you can remove people in your life. You're allowed to do that, certainly. You know, toxic behavior sometimes like isn't allowed. Like if somebody beats you up, or if you get in a fight with somebody and somebody, one of your friends stab you in the back, maybe literally, then then you could just be like, yeah, I'm probably not going to hang out with this guy. You know, he's effectively, they're canceled.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just where's your boundary? I think a lot of people have a different. Obviously, people have different thresholds of what's permissible, and then they have their own gauge of like, okay, do I believe this person is fundamentally flawed in a way that is irreversible or something like that, right? But I think Feynman is a smart guy. I think he would have. I think he would have easily been like, okay, I have a problem. Like he would, if he had a problem being maybe a nymphomaniac. I'm not saying that, but if he had a problem, like he would have probably admitted to it. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? He's dead. Like the guy can't defend himself. So in some sense, it's kind of like, well, yeah. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, it's a tough thing. So I'm trying to think of like, what is the balance? It seems like it's either people want you to just completely forget about him, or like people want to completely ignore what happened. There's no like good middle solution. It seems.
I think you just need to recognize that he had problems. I mean, like he probably crossed boundaries with people.
He definitely did. Murray Gell-Mann fucking talks shit about him all the time.
Who? Oh, Gell-Mann? Yeah.
He calls Feynman diagrams like Stuckelberg diagrams because he hates him so much.
Yeah. Oh, Gell-Mann. Dude.
He must have really fucked over Gell-Mann, I guess.
Gell-Mann's hilarious. Gell-Mann, he must have hooked up with his sister or something. No, but Gell-Mann talks so much shit about Feynman.
He loves talking shit about Feynman.
He was like, Feynman never brushed his teeth. He thought it was. He's like, he thought it was cool to do things that people didn't like. He thought it was cool being a contrarian, and he was like, Feynman's he was like, I hated Feynman. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard, man. It's kind of hard. Like, there's a lot of. It's kind of weird navigating this thing because it's, you know, there are going to be a lot of ethical. I mean. To me, it's not a surprise to me. I don't know why people... I think it's because a lot of people are coming into this era, or maybe and maybe they'd never read a book in their lives, a history book in their lives, and said, oh man, these people were terrible 30 years ago.
It seems like a big naivety to me. It's like you don't realize that like literally almost every person in history has issues. It's like... I don't know what to say either. It seems like, I guess it's because it's more exposure now. Like people weren't really aware before, and now their idealistic vision of the world seems to be kind of caving in. It's like,
but to me, this is why
everyone has a dark side, right?
Yeah, but that to me is not I guess that's the thing with me. Maybe you fundamentally think like, oh, I just it's like, yeah, I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. I know people. I guess maybe because we're fundamentally... I keep saying fundamentally, but because I think we grow up with heroes. We grow up with these icons of...
One-dimensional...
Yeah, one-dimensional...
All good guy heroes,
One-dimensional icons of people instead of being like, these people are human, these people are flawed. Like, maybe the problem is Disney. Okay, folks?
It is. Walt Disney, you talk about racist...
Right. Yeah.
People don't say shit about
trash Disney. Disney's canceled. Okay.
Right. I still see people watching Star Wars and all this shit. Like, look at Disney's past. My God, guy was a vehement racist.
Dude, Steven Spielberg's got some. You can definitely dig at him for stuff.
Oh, dude.
Anybody. It's like anyone.
You can literally
is
find
have
anything for anybody. Issue. I think, honestly, it's hard. That's why my rule is like if the person directly apologizes to the people that they hurt and the people that they hurt feel like it's okay, like, okay, you know, I forgive them, then it's I mean, I feel like you can it's socially acceptable at that point to move on or to forgive in a way.
Right.
Otherwise.
And it's sincere.
Yeah. But it's a lot easier when you know the person. This is the problem with social media too. It's like you're so removed from the humanity of it all that it's like you don't really know if this was a genuine, if it was a genuine apology. If you don't, like the whole Kevin Hart situation back in
when he was talking about not having he was saying something about
if
his homophobic comments or something about his son.
It was something like if his son bought. Or if his son wanted a dollhouse, he would beat him over the head with a dollhouse.
Yeah. I saw that.
It's so stupid.
It's just like a stupid Kevin Hart joke too.
But it's not even a good joke. Like, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's just like, yeah. I mean, if they're sincere about it and they don't mean it, then it's kind of like, okay, it's stupid. Let's move on. Like,
now, do you think there's a difference between if someone does shit but they don't apologize for it? So like, let's think of a Trump
100%.
type character. Like he has no apologies about any of the things that he does.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a difference between that and then someone who's apologetic, like let's say a Louis C.K.?
I don't think Louis C.K. apologized though.
I think he did. He said he was sorry.
Letter.
He wrote.
Yeah,
did he not apologize? It was a beat around the bush.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't really apologize. His situation.
I thought he also talked to the women individually.
It's all speculation, man. I don't know. I can't say anything about all this because this stuff is it's the personal lives of certain people. And I mean, he definitely crossed boundaries, but if Feynman was, say, that Louis C.K. person,
yeah,
if Feynman was, if he did exactly what Louis C.K. did and said, he
whipped his dick out in front of graduate students, which he kind of did.
Which
maybe allegedly, I don't know.
Right, allegedly. If there were boundaries crossed, then for sure, I mean, Feynman would have been easily. There's a lot of power there too. So it's a very problematic situation. But it's like we can't. These people may have been silenced. The ladies who felt that he was maybe crossed some boundaries. No, the young ladies or the graduate students.
Yeah, that were associated with Feynman.
Yeah.
Okay.
They maybe were silenced or felt like they couldn't say anything because Feynman is such a prominent figure.
Right.
It's hard to.
He has the power dynamic once again, which is similar to the Louis C.K. situation because it is that power dynamic.
But we don't. The fact that we don't know is we don't know the story. It's like it muddies the whole thing, so it's hard to even have an opinion on any of it. And that's kind of where I stand. It's like, okay, if we got if this went to trial, and the trial doesn't necessarily mean we get the truth.
Right.
It just means that there's
a verdict.
There was a verdict, and beyond a reasonable doubt, this person probably didn't whatever. There was no absolute like, okay, this person clearly crossed the boundary and they did this X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get at anything, man. It's hard to get at anything.
Yeah, but once the verdict is set, that's usually what people will go with, right?
Yeah, but I mean, look at OJ's.
Oh, that's true. A very good example. Yeah, he was innocent, but literally no one
believes.
I don't know anybody who thinks OJ's actually innocent.
But that's exactly what I mean. Like, it's like there's so many. It's like the same thing. Like OJ's case is a perfect example of that. It's like you can have. Yeah.
Now, that's an interesting one, though, because let's talk about this one. Do you think there's a difference between the severity? So let's say there's an OJ and like a Cosby or a Weinstein, and that's a Harvey Weinstein. Mm-hmm. Those are more severe cases, at least in my eyes. So
murder versus...
Right, murder versus like
sexual harassment and
or
rape,
some
probably?
Inappropriate sexual advances on a grad student or something.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a degree, like, do you think that the punishment should match the crime?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by that.
It's just interesting because I think with cancel culture, the way it is nowadays, I think the punishment doesn't always match the crime. It's like everyone has the same, everyone falls under the same umbrella where basically if you do something. So let's say if you're a Louis C.K. situation, you are now in the same league as a Bill Cosby or a Harvey Weinstein. I hit the cameras.
No, you're okay. I think, I mean, it'll sort it out.
Yeah, I think it will sort out in the future too.
It'll sort itself out. I think these the more egregious things, like, I mean. Yeah, I mean, there's levels to it. I mean, I can't say for the victims, if they feel that way. But, you know, it's like, I think it'll sort itself out, man. I think there will be, you know, there's a reason why if the courts don't give you justice, I think society will try to have some sort of justice. The thing is, social justice in a way can kind of get into, I think this is why people complain about it all the time, but it kind of gets into mob justice.
Yeah.
In a way, but
there's no due process. So like it's literally you take someone's word and then the sentence is already carried out before there's any kind of due process involved.
It's tough, but I mean, like it's kind of the realm that you're in. I think if you're a public figure,
right,
it's like you're
under constant scrutiny now, and you're under the lens, the microscope.
Yeah, the biggest escape would be just to leave social media entirely and just be like, I'm gonna live my life privately.
Right. So you kind of say there's a little bit of you've signed up for this in a sense.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, like a little bit.
And then do you think if your character is well like aligned that you should be okay?
Yeah, because like I think there are already laws in place to protect you from, you know, libel and slander and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So certain things that are alleged aren't necessarily, you know, there might be a grain of truth to some of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole Cosby situation where, you know, 50 women came to him and he was, I mean, pretty much found guilty of pretty much his accusers were all like on the dime. And it's hard to say that the guy didn't do it.
Right.
Or he wasn't a serial rapist or anything. But like, yeah, it's like, I think there are cases where the mob gets it right, and there are cases where the mob might misshoot and it might hurt somebody, but some people think that's the price that's worth it.
I see.
Some people think that's I don't know. It's too for me. It's too like it's too kind of soon to tell. Like there are a lot of stories like for instance, this one story about a guy who was going to be executed in Texas. Did you hear about this?
No.
He was like a week or something. I don't know how much of this was dramatized, but he was going to be executed within the week, and everybody on social media, a faction of people in social media were saying this man should be put off death row because X, Y, and Z. And then it came out that I don't know, everybody got behind it. It's like, this is cruel, you know, I can't believe the system still has this. And but the guy was African American male.
Death penalty?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's being put on
and he was a black guy.
Black male. Okay. He was, I forgot what he was being accused of, but it came out that sexual harassment.
Damn, he got the death penalty for that.
Well, because and a lot of people thought it was insane. Yeah,
some that sounds the punishment does not match the crime.
Yeah, so what ended up coming out, I think, was they were saying that the guy has a history of like rape and sexual assault.
Oh, so that's just the logical progression. Then he just keeps continuously doing it. So then his.
But the thing is, the Twitter mob, the I hate to call it mob, but a lot of people on social media were like, oh, actually, yikes, we did a heavy miscalculation on this one. And they kind of pushed this guy, you know, where he wasn't a good person at all.
Right.
Like, he was a terrible person to get behind and like support justice for this man when at the end of the day, he didn't deserve any justice. But these are all miscalculations that they think, that people like that think are it's okay. The thing is, I'm never the kind of guy to jump on a wave.
Yeah.
I want to sit back and try to collect as much information as I can to make the correct assessment about the situation. And some people call it fence sitting. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you've gotten this allegation sometimes, maybe like you're a fence sitter, you know, you
not personally.
No? I've gotten this quite a bit. Like you're centrist in a way because
I probably called you that too.
Maybe.
Because you definitely take in everything.
I try to collect as much information. If there's more information on one side, then it's like, okay, I'm leaning towards this.
That's the smartest way to go, though, I think.
I try. Like the thing is, if you jump on a wave, I learned this early on, but it's because I think I grew up with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew how strong the tribal mentality on the internet is. Like because you get into, you follow a group.
You're just very weary of jumping on that bandwagon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're very weary. Yeah, you get kind of, at least if you reflect a lot.
Yeah.
If you self-reflect, you're kind of just like, I don't know if the smartest thing to do is to jump on this immediately.
Right.
Because then it's going to reflect badly on my own judgment. So it's a little bit, I try to stray away from these sort of the mob mentality of things. But
yeah, you see this quite often on the internet. I mean, Reddit is a prime example of this. Like with Reddit, I've seen them do this so many times, and I'm just like, when are these people ever going to learn? I mean, of course, this is kind of like a generalization because Reddit's composed of many different people, but Reddit has done this very thing so many times. Like it's happened with the Coney 2012.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It happened with the Boston bomber. It's happened so many times. I'm just like, are they ever going to learn that this is not the way to approach things?
I think that comes with age and wisdom because I think you and I went through it. Some people in our generation went through it, but there's always a new generation of I'm 12. What is this coming into the internet?
True.
And not knowing, not experiencing that you can't get caught up in a wave, a collective group of a lynch mob or piling on. And of course there are people, it's kind of cringy when you see like young kids, get into that as well. Like it's maybe we should have like a sociologist on to talk about this because it's this is how, and maybe even a philosopher to kind of talk about like how do you walk through, how do you go through life being ethical, as ethical as you can be, and not crossing any boundaries or not crossing any thresholds that might that could potentially hurt someone in a negative way or whatever. I mean, the physical things are all the physical things I feel like society has gotten out of the way pretty much. Like we it's pretty clear that we're not supposed to murder or hurt anybody, that kind of thing. But there are the emotional toils now, like, where the more internal things like hatred and bigotry, like, you can't express these it's socially frowned upon to express these emotions, especially based on certain like characteristics,
right?
Which is a good thing. I mean, it's not necessarily, I'm not dogging it or anything.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking it's going to be one of these situations like you're saying where it kind of resolves itself.
Yeah,
and I think it might resolve itself just by sheer amount of
iterations.
Iterations, exactly. So it's like one of these things where it seems as a society we learn best by going through it already. So when you have so many examples of something happening and it's so well laid out, then people will start to understand what to do and how to evolve past that. Right? It's just like issues like, think about like when gay people were first starting to be
public or
come out publicly. Like it took us many decades, right? But then once they started being on TV, once you started seeing like, okay, how can they fit into society in a way that makes sense to the common person? Then we started to accept it more and more until finally gay marriage was allowed, and then things like that. So that now the collective consciousness of our nation and even globally now in many ways understands what to do now and understands that it's a normal thing. Yeah. So we just need enough time and enough examples probably and enough iterations, as you said, to actually figure out how to handle this situation. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's what it's going to probably be.
I mean, you'll live and you'll learn and you'll say, like Dylan over here, he might be like, yeah, I mean, if I were to probably talk to Dylan, he'd probably say, "Yeah, man, I don't like him because he did these things," and I'd probably say the same thing. I'd be like, "Yeah, I don't like him for that. Like, I wouldn't like him if that was my sister or something, and he treated my sister that way. I'd be like, he's a piece of shit, But for me, it's like, fuck, I don't know what happened.
Right.
The information for me isn't there. I can't, I mean, unless somebody can really just send me something and be like, definitively, they're like, 20 women that came out and were like, yeah, he did X, Y, and Z, and yeah, he's not a good guy. And I'm like, yikes, okay, well then, damn. Feynman is
I think
problematic
some
figure.
women have corroborated the story and said they did sleep with Feynman. I saw one Twitter post where the lady, I think, admitted to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if I don't really know.
I mean, sure, but if you did it non-consensually, then for sure there's a problem.
No, I think it was consensual.
Yeah,
but still, it's a thing of like the
power dynamic.
The power dynamic makes it into a gray area where it's like consensual still doesn't really mean consensual. You know, it's like.
But this is why we have HR and we have things like rules in place for organizations and schools to even be like, do not sleep with your students. This is a fireable offense.
Right.
And these are good things. We're moving society forward in every iteration, so to say, of generations to kind of be like, yeah, I mean, that wasn't cool. That wasn't a cool thing to do. That was a gray area, like you're saying. Like even if it was consensual, it's like we understand now that there's inherent power dynamics to certain things, and it's like that creates a potentially problematic situation. So yeah, it's we're evolving, man. We're evolving each iteration, and I think society will figure it out. I think we'll all figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. I pretty much am on the same page. I think I think this is one of these issues where it's very hard. It's one of these rare issues for me where it's hard for me to take a real like clear stance.
Yeah.
Like I almost play devil's advocate just depending on whoever's talking. Because it's like I don't really even know myself exactly where I want to stand on this. I just know in my feelings, which I don't really use that often, but in this case I have to almost rely on it because I know that I have a kind of a problem with cancel culture in its extreme. And I focus on that mostly, and I'm usually on the side against cancel culture because it seems so rampant right now where people are going to the nth degree on it. It's less so I'm seeing people defending against that. So I feel like as my position, I usually have to defend against the cancel culture kind of regime. Although I understand cancel culture and I get that you need to have people held responsible for their actions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise it's just like, then what are you doing as a society? I mean, there has to be repercussions for your actions.
Yeah, especially if the criminal justice system is failing in some aspects of it, right?
Right.
There are certainly places where
just awareness.
Yeah, there are certain places where social justice is needed, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, you say you're on principle almost against cancel culture, but I would say on principle I'm almost against having a mob mentality.
I think your position is the most intelligent because you're actually trying to take in all the information as it is, and it makes more sense to have a better conclusion that way, right? Because you're not gonna put yourself in a bad light by prematurely jumping to a conclusion. Well, but for me, I put myself on the front line because I try to at least work that the way I work things out usually is by debate and actually getting engaged with it.
I see.
It's harder for me to take in the full picture unless I'm on the front line.
Gotcha.
So even if I have to embarrass myself and make stupid opinions sometimes,
you're willing to walk back.
I'm willing to walk it back if I need to, and hopefully I won't do so much damage to the point where it's irreversible.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of. I mean, I feel like I do the same thing, but I think I do the same thing. I've had moments where I've jumped on a wave.
Yeah.
Of maybe, one of these internet waves where it's like, we got to get this person, like the example of the gentleman who, well, he's not so much a gentleman, but the guy who's going to be executed.
Okay. Yeah.
Like jumping on that wave and being like, yeah, this guy, he doesn't deserve this. This is an unfair crime. And, and then, you have to walk back. You have to undo a retweet about like him getting him justice because more information comes out that it's like, oh, actually this guy was a piece of shit.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's still moments where I get caught up in that where it's like, damn, this is infuriating. Like seeing this happen to, this is injustice and stuff. And then, yeah, I mean, look, I think the most principled thing you can do is at least for me, I think, is just not necessarily wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Wait a little bit, collect and assess the information, then make a judgment,
Absolutely.
And then be willing to walk back if you need to, and be willing to have people that are willing to discuss these things with you, because man, there are certain situations where it's like like you get into debates with people like that are just so ridiculous, like
and emotions are involved usually, so then that makes it even worse, because then people are just attacking, and you get all these ad hominem attacks, and just shit slinging. Yeah. So it can get messy, but that's the process, I guess. Yeah. Debate is critical. I think debate is a very important thing that we need to have, and we need to continue to debate and talk. It's just I hope we don't get to such a point where people are just yelling at each other
or cross each other, and then nobody's actually talking about anything.
Which from Dylan's tweet seemed to be a lot of the case. But there was actually, it's more mature because, Dylan's more of a science, mathematics guy. So usually more intelligent people who live within that scientific framework will start talking. But there was still a little bit of ad hominem attacks, But I mean, that just goes with the territory, right? Yeah. When there's emotions involved, people are going to get emotional. Yeah. So... But I mean, it's an interesting thing. I think we're in a really interesting time right now.
We are. We'll work it out. If history has shown us anything, a lot of these things, like, we're going through, it's the same thing. It's like, some people say it's like McCarthyism in a way, like, you're being outed for, McCarthyism was a time where we had this, or certain conservatives in the government, they were pointing the finger at people and saying, "This guy's a communist." So they were pointing the finger at everybody who they didn't like and called them communists, pretty much. But it's sort of the same thing now. It's sort of like maybe branding people, with the Scarlet Letter. You remember that book from? Yeah, with the Scarlet Letter. Being like, "Hey, this person's terrible,"
Right. Adulterous.
It's like, well, I think we, America has to be a good Christian nation and forgive if it's allowed in certain situations, right? But like,
well, let me ask you this one real quick. Do you believe that someone can be beyond salvation? Can someone ever be beyond the point of retribution?
With my limited understanding, yeah.
So someone can just be such a piece of shit that they deserve to truly be canceled permanently.
By death, yes.
Okay,
I think certain people, like if you murder a village of 20 innocent people, then you probably should be permanently canceled, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Series over, okay?
Right. So
there's
definitely a spectrum.
Yeah. I think a lot of, man, it's tough. Maybe a new court system will come up. Maybe whoever the president is in 10 years will come up with its own executive branch of like social justice or something. I don't know, man. We're gonna figure this out at some point. I think. I think we'll look back on this era and be like, we learned a lot. I hope.
I guess we're learning trial by fire.
Yeah,
the theoretical part of it might be a little bit too deep. So we're gonna
people have to study this, man. I feel like we need to get more eyes on. I hope this is why I'm like, maybe we should get a sociologist on here and a historian.
Okay. Well, it seems like right now we're gathering data.
We are gathering. I feel like we are gathering data. I think in a lot of ways.
So,
I think because social media has made it more prominent, like you're saying, like.
We literally have documented, the documentation to support these things now. And then people can actually analyze this from, from an outsider's perspective with a more clear vision.
Yeah. It's not a surprise to me either that this is, you're saying like you were saying earlier, there's a certain naivete about all this.
Right.
The people that are shocked by certain things and it's kind of funny because this corroborates, what some mental health scientists are already saying about the negative effects of social media, where people have much higher, they're much more unhappy and depressed when they look at news on social media.
I see.
So yeah, it makes sense. Like you're like, man, this world is fucked up. because you're sort of your facade of how good society is in some way. You're kind of just like taking in this information and being like, wow, my heroes are
all shit tier.
Yeah. My heroes are all bad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have heroes.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a naive point of view. Like, I mean, there are no real heroes. They're
There's only humans.
There's only humans, man.
Mm-hmm.
No gods, no kings, just,
Very true.
Beings.
Some people have managed to go down as heroic, though. Like, I can think of a very few handful of people who are just like, they seem almost angelic because there's just been nothing.
Yeah. Like the one that immediately comes to my mind is Mr. Rogers.
Oh yeah.
I'm
waiting for his
like
skeletons.
those kind of people. I think
I'm waiting for
I
his
hope
skeletons.
not, dude. I hope not. But those kind of people to me should be like, I guess maybe after like,
We
let's
should
say like
create a
100
social
years.
tier.
Yeah, like 100 years after their death, they should be like arisen to saint. That's how you should become a saint.
Sainthood.
Yeah, that should be the saint status.
You know what?
No scandals in your life.
Maybe religion had it right, man. Maybe we do need to have tiers, social tiers of like saints would be people who were unproblematic from birth.
Yeah.
And just never
Mr.
did
Rogers
anything
should
wrong.
get sainthood status.
Man, Saint Roger. Think about that. No.
And Mother Teresa should get her shit revoked. I don't know if you know anything about her, but she was fucking terrible.
She wasn't an actual virgin either.
Mother Teresa? What's she claiming to be?
She was a mother. I don't know. I don't know if virginhood is still a thing.
I don't either, man. But she was apparently really terrible. Christopher Hitchens did a whole expose on her and showed how he exposed her for all the bullshit she did.
Oh.
She was crazy. Shit crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and then, so it's just funny, like, these people get sainthood and things, like, they get their history rewritten.
Do you think anybody alive today, might have sainthood?
Sainthood status?
Will Smith.
Ooh, nah, probably not. I'm sure he's got some shit going on. Yeah, dude, he was like, I know they were kind of dipping into Scientology and stuff.
Oh, man.
I don't know. They might be getting some weird shit, bro.
Maybe.
No, not Will Smith.
Well, whoever wasn't on Jeffrey Epstein's plane flight log is probably already not in that sainthood. They're already excluded out from that.
If they were on the
list.
Epstein list,
yeah, they're definitely not included in that.
Yeah, who do you? Can you think of anybody? Let's try to think. Who could be?
The internet loves Paul Rudd.
Nah, Paul Rudd's done some fucked up things.
You
He's a
think
comedian, bro. You can't be a comedian and not have done some fucked up shit.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah. I mean, I guess you're right.
I love Paul Rudd, but I'm sure if you asked him that question, he'd be like, "Hell no."
He's like, "Dude, I'm not a saint."
Yeah, I ain't no saint.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
Keanu, maybe.
I'm
getting Keanu Reeves vibes.
He might be a saint.
He is a fucking good ass dude.
Well, some people were getting mad at him because he wasn't dating in his age group. So there's a little. Have you heard about that?
No,
he's
already going down.
There's some women. There's some women. There's some women that think it's kind of a problem when men date much younger.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I get it.
You have some power dynamics. Yeah, that could be a problem. But he's 50 and she's like 42 or something.
Oh, that's
which is
not
like
that bad.
It's not that bad. The lady's lived
less than 10 years.
It's fine. Like I think the problem arises more if you're like 30 something and you're dating an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's that okay. All right. So there's enough.
Or maybe even like 60 and 20s a little bit. Like 60
like 25. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I mean, let's be real. Who's getting the better end of the deal there?
Well, both of them nowadays because the girl gets her student
married.
loans paid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I mean. I was framing it in that way, where it's like the young lady is like, "Oh, sugar daddy." Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
but the old dudes get a nice little piece of arm candy too. So.
I mean, yeah, arm candy. That's it. I mean, I guarantee
that's
you,
true.
there's nothing else going on.
It's got a pop 50 Viagra.
Like Blue Chew like crazy, right. but nah, man, it's
like Quentin Tarantino. He's got him a little young piece.
Israeli chick.
He's got skeletons, man.
Oh, he definitely does. Tarantino does. The shit he comes up with on film,
dude.
You can't not with that kind of brain.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be canceled in 20 years. He's gone.
Could be, man.
He's gone for sure.
He just needs if he makes one bad movie, it's over.
I mean, that's just man. Yeah, there are very few people. I mean,
can you think of any others besides Keanu? Keanu's like he's on my list. Like he's up there. He's up there.
He's got a lot of good stories.
Yeah.
I think people look at what's his name, Bill Murray, that way too.
No, fuck no, fuck no, bro.
Gen Xers look
There's
at him like
no way in
Gen
hell.
Xers look at him like Jesus.
Bill
almost.
Murray's got skeletons for sure, dude. You kidding me?
Dude, I'm just saying the way
There
Gen
ain't-
Xers treat him.
Nah,
is
there ain't
kinda,
no way. Bill
okay,
Murray ain't
alright.
on that list.
I
Scratch
don't know
that.
anything about Bill Murray stuff, but all I know is that he went to.
Maybe Jeff Goldblum might be on there.
No,
You don't think Jeff Goldblum?
No,
Jeff Goldblum's a national treasure, bro.
in terms of movies, yes.
No, in terms of just his personality, everything.
Yeah, but I think
You think he might got some?
if he wasn't famous, he would be kind of creepy.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe so.
That's
Maybe
the
so.
problem. Like
But maybe fame saved him from that.
fame kind of saved him from that because
He's just silly
he's
and goofy
become
now.
silly, goofy. Some women think he's kind of a sexual icon in a way.
Yeah,
But
dude's got swag on.
I mean, yeah, but I
point.
mean, sure, but like it's, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's kind of rubbed up on women in a way that some
not
women were
good.
like, I don't know who this guy is. He's being a creep.
Yeah, maybe right. I can see
Then it's
Jeff
like-
Goldblum giving an inappropriate massage.
Oh, hello. How are you? Oh, wow. You're so
Smelling the
tense. Wow, is that Garnier Fructis? Is that, no,
But
it's-
in a completely innocent Jeff Goldblum way at the same time.
yeah, him trying to be
unknowingly
funny,
creepy.
him trying to be funny, but then being creepy. Yeah,
Right. All right, I get it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, there are very few people. The guy who plays damn, what's that movie? Forrest Gump.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
He's playing Miss Rogers. He's the only one who can
well,
literally do it.
There you go, man.
Yeah, Tom
There
Hanks.
you go.
Tom Hanks is up there. He's definitely
Yeah.
high on the tier list of
Yeah.
social purity.
Mr. Tom Hanks. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah. Ah,
T.
man.
Hanks.
There are very few people, man. They're just
Yeah.
even
very, very
presidents can't. Presidents,
No.
there's no way they've murdered people.
few. Right.
I mean, not
Yeah,
saying,
like virtue of being a president, you automatically are off the tier list.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because you're gonna have to do some shady
you have
shit.
to sign off on some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're selling your soul right then and there.
Yeah, man. It's so far we've only come up with 2. If so, people in the comments section, if you can.
Yeah. Is that our question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Who's going to be the high? Who else can we rate on the highest of the social tier list?
Yeah. Who's chief sainthood in modern
Yeah.
society today?
Yeah.
With everything that we know in morality and ethics, who's at that level where you think in 20 years they would be untouchable?
Yeah.
You know.
With no record, clean
Yeah.
as a whistle,
Yeah.
all around, left only good behind.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Sound off.
give it to us. Man. Okay, let's try to think of one more.
One more.
Yeah, this is kind of fun. I want to see.
I'm trying to think of women.
Oh, women, man.
I can't think of any women off the
But
bat.
that's a good thing.
Why?
Because then you can cancel out you can't even think of bad women.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Because like if you can weed out
I
bad
think
guys.
of bad women.
Oh, you
Hillary
can.
Clinton for sure. She's fucking terrible. She's like bottom rung of the list.
Yeah, she's
She's probably killed people, bro.
maybe, man.
You know
I don't
she
know.
has. You know she's got a list. Hillary, what they call it on
The kill
Twitter,
list.
the kill list, the Killery list.
That's so dumb. No, she's got some egregious. She's
Yeah,
got some.
She's done some shit.
Dude, she's. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with
She's
you
got
on
some
that.
fucking T-Rex
She's got some
skeletons in her shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she defended Bill's like sexual misconduct and behavior.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of bad stuff that
because she just wants power. She doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, I guess you're right, Hillary. But then I don't know who else. Like, who
Any
who-
good? No, we want to think of only high tier women though. High social cred. Who could get on that list for women high on the list? Maybe Jane Goodall.
Nother.
Jane Goodall pops into my mind.
Emma Nether.
Oh, Nerther? I don't know much about her.
Well, Nothing Problematic came out, so I'm gonna put her up there.
I don't know anything about her though, so I can't say. Mine is going to be Jane Goodall.
Jane Goodall.
Yeah, the woman who did things with the apes.
Studied apes.
Yeah, she just has that look of just like a pure soul.
Yeah.
Anybody who's
yeah.
that good with animals and then tuned to also is good in my book.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that.
Oh, that reminds me of another.
Irwin.
That's
Steve?
exactly
Steve fucking Irwin.
Steve was a fucking. That is a guy that will be on the list too.
You know,
for sure.
you have that meme picture of people in heaven, and it's
Yeah.
Harambe, Steve Irwin,
Rip Steve.
Yeah. Of all the people that are up there, he's up there.
Yeah, Steve Irwin for sure,
Mr.
dude.
Rogers, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. I think
that might have to be the thumbnail.
Steve Irwin, and anybody who loved animals, Jane Goodall. I think, man, I had one in the tip of my tongue, but the lady who voiced Ash Ketchum.
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, is she Japanese?
Nah, she's American, but she just voiced a lot of cartoon characters in our era. And I like to think that she was unproblematic.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
We'll throw her name up there. Just she's not dead, but you know.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of. Man,
but that just shows you right
list.
there that it's a very short list, man. So people throwing around who's to be canceled or whatnot. Let's just think these things out a little bit.
Fine. Let's. You know what? If 99% of society has something from them that's, I mean, I guarantee you, with the fact that everybody is flawed, in some way or another, I guarantee you, then we should give like membership cards to like people in society that are sainthood class.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Like,
but they can only get it after death. Because you have to be fully, have a clean slate.
Maybe a year.
Because the only way is you can have, all you can only be fully.
No, that's like a seniors club. We should give them that.
While they're alive?
Yeah.
Nah, dude. Because then what if they go out and murder somebody? They say, like, all right, finally. Time to go on my stabbing spree. Mr. Rogers takes out his AK-47 and just mows down a whole theater.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay.
It's gotta be after death. Like sainthood is only after death too.
It's like they get a Hollywood. They get a star on the Hollywood Walk.
Yeah.
Hollywood Walk of Sainthood.
But you could probably make a permanent statue of that because there'd be so few names. It'd just be once they get scrawled on there, that's just like an epic statue. Dude, that would be cool to have. Like, fuck all the religious sainthood stuff. Let's replace it with that. Yeah,
exactly. I 100% agree with you. We should just do away with all that and just be like, we should make murals of these people and be like, this person is an icon. Now, they're true heroes. These are true heroes that were human and were alive, and they were unproblematic. So, and with that, we'll sign off, and hopefully you've already conjured up someone in your head that's like, for sure belongs on the list. So
leave a comment, guys, and we'll see you next episode.
I was gonna say hello.
Juan's getting the outros and the intros mixed up.
Shit. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So thank you for
once again,
listening
guys.
This long. Hopefully we made this hour at least somewhat entertaining for you. And if you have something to say it in our comment section below. Not to our faces, just in the comment section below.
If you see us on the street, please don't say anything to us.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah. There's a famous. I watched this show with these two like comedian guys, and one of them says, "Approach me like an earth sign mammal."
What the heck does that mean?
Approach me like a bear, pretty much.
Oh, that's too high level for me.
Cautiously. Approach me cautiously. So I would say the same. Approach me very cautiously. I scare easily. So make sure to sound off on the comments, especially with that last question we had. Is there anybody you think deserves
that sainthood
status in 2019 or
secular sainthood? Let's call it that.
Secular sainthood. Yeah. And I mean, if you're not in 2019, hey, look back at the comments and be like, wow, they totally got it. They nailed it with these people. These people are
100 years from now.
100 years from now, when these people are immortalized and become. And are there are very few people that they're seated on a council and become our betters and stuff.
Right.
So I mean, just don't forget to share, like, subscribe, all that stuff.
Yep. Check us out on Twitter at Eigenbros. Check us out at the website, eigenbros.com. And if you're an audio listener, we're on Spotify, Apple, Google Play, TuneIn, all that crap. So, and we'll see you next time, guys. Ta-ta.